Let us pray. Almighty God, the creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our actions so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria in general and Lagos State in particular. Amen. Good afternoon, distinguished colleagues. You are all welcome to today's sitting. Let us go through the votes and proceedings of Thursday, 26 January 2023. Ojú ìwé kejìlélọ́rin lé lẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́gbẹ̀ta aṣòfin Olúmọ.
Ẹ ṣeun olùdarí, mo rí orúkọ mi ní ara àwọn tí wọ́n wá, mo dẹ̀ gbààyè lọ́wọ́ yín fún ìrìn àjò tí mo rìn.
Akọ̀wé àgbẹ̀ ṣe àtúnṣe.
Ẹ ṣeun sà.
Ojú ìwé kẹtàlé. Ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́gbẹ̀ta. A ti ṣe àgbéyẹ̀wò àkọsílẹ̀ ìjíròrò yìí tí ó kọjá ní ọjọ́bọ̀ ọjọ́ kẹrìndínlọ́gbọ̀n oṣù kínní ọdún kẹtàlélókòólélẹ́gbà a sì fi òǹtẹ̀lú. Any message from the governor?
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker, sir. Distinguished honorable members. There is no message from the governor.
Any other announcements?
Sir, we have none, sir.
Petitions?
None, sir.
Matter of urgent public importance, Honorable Rutimelo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, good afternoon. My colleague, good afternoon. Mr. Speaker, for the past 1 month, we have been having issues about us on the CBN new policy on cash and carry, which stipulates that
is the mic working? Is it working? Okay.
Which stipulates that for individual cash withdrawal has been increased from an average of 100,000 per week to 500,000. Then for corporate organization to 5 million. Then if there is the need for them to increase. That means for individual, it attracts 3% processing fee, while that of corporate attracts 5% processing fee. Mr. Speaker, my colleague, I sat down in retrospect to look at this policy and to look at the timing. In as much as the CBN Act allows the CBN governor to direct our monetary policies in such a manner that it will be progressive and it take care of the economic of Nigeria. But what I've seen lately is a reverse in the sense that it is ill-conceived, it is obnoxious, and it is anti-masses. Mr. Speaker, as great as Lagos is as the economic barometer of Nigeria, bulk of the SMEs, those small and medium entrepreneurs, are mothers selling chicken, selling groundnut oil, and the likes, who are illiterate, are still in the system. Nobody is thinking about them. And when you look at the preponderance or the proportion of these people in SMEs, you will discover that because there is no paid employment, and these have actually, and to a larger extent, assisted them in making a living. Coupled with the fact that the banking sector is riddled with frauds, hidden charges, maintenance charges, account maintenance, SMS, VAT on service and the likes. When you look at the implication on this and you allow those informal sector to quickly go to bank without having any regulatory framework to control these banks' excesses, then we now ask ourselves, what will now be the schemes of the less vulnerable, the vulnerables in the system? Mr. Speaker, we all use phones. The IT infrastructure in Nigeria is nothing to write home about. Many a time you have to move in from one place to another to connect a phone. Let alone people in the rural areas. What becomes their fate when we implement this? So, Mr. Speaker, my reason for bringing it to the fore today is this: that in as much as we appreciate the rationale behind and what they can grasp, for number one, it will reduce corruption. It will allow more money to be in the system so that it can give our economy the set backing. But they have not talked about the incentive to be given to individuals to assist or to enhance savings. Like in same words, crimes. If you deposit more money in the bank, it affects your credit rating. And that's what you're going to, the loan that I'm giving to you and today. In Nigeria, they have not talked about structured and specialized loans to industries, to traders. When I want to collect loan from the bank, they will talk about 7%. Where another kind of loan on 7%? Why do you expect people to save? Those are the things that they expect from CBN at ensuring that by the time they start this policy, everybody will be included and everybody will benefit from it. But what I'm saying today, it will be only beneficial to the elites, but to the masses, to our mothers, it's going to destroy their lives. And I'm telling you, if we don't pay for more time before this policy is implemented, it will have negative implications and it's going to have multiplying effect on our mothers, on the illiterates, those people in my village who cannot read, who cannot write, the village that is not connected, that you don't even have ATM. How do you elect them to do local commerce? And how do you now regulate the banks at ensuring that they don't steal from these mothers? I was looking at the footage, it was on Facebook. The lady said, I deposited 4 million naira within 6 hours, almost about 3.7 million naira gone. That when she had the money in her kitty, nobody touched her money. It was when she took it to the bank that they now stole her money. And they was asking, how will she get her money? They are saying they will give her 800,000. So I don't have CBN coming in to rescue that woman. It's an individual, a lady who has saved money with her life savings just went down the drain like that. Mr. Speaker, my colleague, I'm begging of you to support my saying that Mr. Nepole, the CBN governor, should please postpone the implementation of the new cash policy till July 2023, so that all those threats, observed anomalies, inhibitions would have been resolved before implementation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my colleagues.
Honorable Bisi Yusuf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished honorable members, what Honorable Rotimi Olowo raised is very germane and fundamental. Mr. Speaker, I support wholeheartedly the submission of the honorable. But in addition, Mr. Speaker, you cannot collect 20,000 naira from bank. But near the commercial bank, you will see people selling this money that is not available in the bank. When you get to a party, you can even exchange 2 million, 3 million new currency and in the parties. Where do they get this money? And they use money to buy it. For instance, if you want to exchange 100,000, you are ready to collect 50,000. Are they not damaging the economy that they are trying to safeguard? That corruption is there, Mr. Speaker. We need to investigate. Most of these commercial banks, why they sell the money which is supposed to be for the public to an individual who is a trader and using our own money to trade and injure the economy? Mr. Speaker, I think I support the motion that the implementation of this very hard policy should be postponed till June 31st. Thereabout. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That's it. Yes.
Honorable Akande.
Good afternoon, Right Honorable Speaker and my colleagues. I think the issue raised by Honorable Lowe this afternoon is an issue that concerns every one of us. And why I stand up to say something about this is that currently is our party that is at the ends of affair. And whatever affects the economy directly, the masses will point accusing finger to we, those at the corridor of power. I think the central bank governor, what he did is not a new thing. But before such a policy should be carried out, I think a lot of investigation need to have been done, so that by the time they will now roll out this policy, the masses will accept that replacing of currency is not a new thing throughout the world. Every country that can, at least every 5 to 8 years, they can make the replacement for the currency. But at the time the Emefiele is doing this, one, the economy cannot even support it. The commercial banks does not even have this money at their disposal. And then the time frame given for this replacement is not feasible. And then look at the economy, the present situation. There's no fuel even to even go out to even take your cash to bank. You find it very difficult. It's even better for we in the city. What about those people from the rural area? How would they move their money? And every day we transact. Nigeria is not a producing country. We are more or less commercial, merchandising, buying and selling. Every day, every second, we exchange currency. And this money is not available. And that's why you are seeing a lot of people, they are looking for alternative. You can see the 1,000 note. There are several ways of even getting the the adulterated one now. They are seeing it, putting ink and boil it, and the whole 1,000 naira we change to the new 1,000 notes. So all this one, I want the House to call on to the National Assembly. The upper house have said they should extend this into June. I don't know why the Emefiele is so much in hurry to now put a kind of a time restriction to the exchanging of the currency. Even in abroad, in the US, it takes 1 year where they will allow people not to be allowed them to be changing this thing over time. 3 months, I think, is a kind of a targeted punishment to the masses. To the masses. And the economy is so fragile now that we should be very careful. Very, very careful. No employment, nothing. The POS people, they are using this as a means of livelihood, is almost cut off from the business. So I think we need to write to Mr. President, because Emefiele is working under the pretense of the presidency, so that this thing we will not overheat this current economic situation we have today. So I thank the Prime Mover and I thank the House for supporting this.
Honorable Jude.
Thank you, my Speaker, and thank you, my colleagues. I want to appreciate Rotimi Olowo for bringing this to fore. Sir, personally, I'm angry in the sense that Nigerians are suffering right now. For me, I saw this policy as a deceit to the president, sir. Emefiele, for me, deceived the president to buy into this kind of policy. And probably that's why he had to go behind the Minister of Finance. Look at what is happening. Does he think he has all the knowledge in Nigeria? When you continue to say politician. Politicians, how many are there? When you compare with the number of, we are over 200 million. Politicians are no more than 10% of this population you are talking about. You say politician, but look at what is happening now. Everybody is suffering. What kind of policy is this? For me, as far as I'm concerned, the economy is being heated. Petrol is not there. As I did for yesterday, people could not even find cash. Even me, to get cash, it was so difficult. How can you? Overnight you came with a policy trying to target those very few people instead of you to consider the number of people that make all this, that are enjoying this economy. You are considering just few elements. Now look at where we are heading to. I think for me this one of the bad policy civilian governor have really put in place. And for me, we totally reject this. I want to key in with what the National Assembly is doing. He should, the 17 days given, 10 days for bringing in the money of the legal tender to be still illegal, then 7 more days for those that are still having money to bring up to 17th of next month will not help. In other clients, like we said, this thing takes a while. Then gradually, any old currency that come into the system, then when it comes, it doesn't come out again. You cannot just overnight, because you say you want to target few people. It is wrong. As far as I'm concerned, this policy is a policy of bad belly. Yes, that's the way I see it. It's being targeted to a group of people. And this group of people does not make up Nigeria. No matter what we are doing, I think whoever that is making policies that has to do with the country have to consider the interests of the total people or population of this country before you can now say this country should come out. I want to beg Mr. President, I want to thank him for even extending the 10 days and the 7 days extra. But it's not enough. Nigeria, we are used to cash and carry system. Even by now, we are even getting used to cashless system. We are getting used to it. But for you to just suddenly under 4 months ago and expect magic to happen immediately, sir, it does not work that way. He should have a rethink. I think Emefiele should be called to order. He should go and report to House of Reps and answer questions that are meant for him instead of dodging. So that at the end of the day, he will come out with a better policy that will suit this country and suit all of us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my colleagues.
Honorable Miranda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, colleagues. Well, the present situation about this new currency, it's very sad. It is discouraging, it is demoralizing, and it is gradually becoming depressing. On Sunday, I went out and I discovered that my tires, about 2, had issues. Just on my street, I stopped to fix my tires. There was no cash on me. But the poor man did the tires for me that, Madam, when I was coming back, no solution. Yesterday, Monday, no solution. I had to call one of my staff to come to the house with 5,000 naira this morning before leaving. That I don't feel comfortable driving past this man again on Tuesday without paying him his money. Mr. Speaker, this policy is affecting everybody. And I don't know what whoever that is in charge, the CBN, wants to achieve from this. The kind of money MFLA is looking for, the kind of people he is looking for, will not walk into the bank and deposit any money or do a swap. The so-called bank MDs know where to pick the old notes from wherever MFLA is looking for, and swap to the new notes. Why are they deceiving Nigerians? Why are they making things difficult for everybody? How do we pay the common man on the street, the local pepper seller on the street? Not that the cash is, even the POS, those doing POS, you reach somewhere and they will tell you the network is down. This thing needs time, gradual process. I see no big deal, I see no reason why they can't make the new currency available and let us transact our business normally. And they keep withdrawing the old notes and paying us with the new ones. Withdraw the old notes from all the ATM machines. Don't put new old notes in your ATM machines. Gradually they will recover all they want to get. So, Mr. Speaker, I thank Honorable Lowo for this. I think it is high time we all come together as a body to face this thing, because it's a collective fight that we need to fight. Thank you and God bless.
Honorable Lumo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank my colleagues, especially Honorable Lowo, for bringing this to the floor of the House. Well, what is the essence of any policy, either led by government or an authority which is autonomous in nature, like the CBN? The intention is to bring succor. The intention is to make the life of Nigerian easy. The CBN governor says he wants to use this policy to help aid the security situation in the country. He said there are a lot of money in the hands of the bandits. On the social media, this new note is being circulated by this same bandit. Has that not been defeated? He said he wants to use this policy to control inflation by locking up money. Locking up money is not the best way to control inflation. Most of the inflation we have in Nigeria are imported. This one will not solve the problem. There are POS operators who are making money, who are making their job, their livelihood from this. If you go to them, they cannot even access anything from the bank. If you go to the POS, if you go to the ATM, there is something circulating on the social media, sir. People are fighting, killing themselves to collect money from the ATM. That is not a policy that is intended to solve the problems of Nigeria. Though the CBN Act, Section 2, Subsection B, 17 and 18, gives the CBN governor the autonomy to control the money in circulation. But that same act and other section in that act says that the new currency and the old currency will work pari passu before the old currency can be taken out of circulation. It is not draconian that within 2 months, 3 months, the old currency must leave the circulation. It is not done anywhere. Sir, this is an economy that is based on cash and carry. There is no way you can say we should go and transact everything on the electronic media. So I saw something on the social media, they call it a post, I think post or something, positive payment. This is an app that would make you believe that money has been transferred into your account. Make believe, and there is no money that's been transferred to your account. The infrastructural system that we have in terms of telecommunication is not matured enough to make sure that this policy can fly. My plea, sir, is with the presidency, because for everything he does, he needs to run to the president for approval. That is the only authority that he understands and he appreciates as guaranteed in the Central Bank Act. The president should look at Nigerians as we all voted for him. We see him as our father. He's our father. We all love Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari. He should look at Nigerians. Nigerians are suffering. There is more suffering in the land. It is enough. We cannot have this one onto Nigerians to continue to suffer. 6 months is not enough. Talk less of 2 months, 3 months. Please, we are begging Mr. President, whatever way he sees it. It is very embarrassing to see on the social media throwing pebble to our leaders just because of one policy orchestrated by one man to hide whatever he wants to hide. So, Mr. Speaker, I beg that we need to speak to the National Assembly. Whichever method, you are very good at doing this. You have done it before. You gave us autonomy, financial autonomy for the parliament. You have done so many things for us in this country, Mr. Speaker. Please use that same method that you've used in the past to get to the appropriate quarters at the National Assembly. You have the right connection to Mr. President, sir. Please talk to him the way you used to talk to him. This thing cannot fly. Nigeria needs more time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak.
Honorable Council. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to join my colleagues to also appreciate Honorable Oluwo for bringing this to fore. I will start by saying that it is not a bad policy per se, but I would also add that it is coming at a very, very bad time. Currently, we have the dollar still getting on the rise day after day, and ridiculously devaluing our own naira gets in the process, and we have that to think about. Furthermore, I would say that it is even more laughable that I've been seeing announcements go up and down saying that funds that you get from the bank should be between the region of 5 naira, 10 naira, 100 naira, 50 naira denominations that can be issued at the counter. It is very laughable because it is coming at a very, very wrong time. Furthermore,
poor quality of demand.
The electronic system of actually sending out funds, if we want to operate a cashless society, is still in embryo. Let's face the facts. Just like Honorable Miranda was saying earlier on with our examples, just yesterday I spent 5 hours trying to send 55,000 naira for an emergency situation. 5 hours because of the slow process of the apps, of the bank apps. It is definitely not a right time, because obviously if it was a worse emergency situation, that's how maybe the worst may have happened. Just because I couldn't get to send that particular amount because I didn't have the necessary cash for it, and I was still trying to operate it, do it electronically, but I couldn't achieve this because it is coming at a very bad time. Sir, let us quickly take an example from UK, United Kingdom. United Kingdom just lost their monarch, their queen, last year. They transitioned onto a new monarch and crowned a king. The same currency that has been in existence over the last 70 years or the last few years because of changes and whatever they operated during the queen's reign is still being used up until today. But it has been given a specific time frame that is long enough to make the system settle and accept it. These are the kind of natural changes that will happen with time. Just because you want to achieve some particular things at a particular time does not give you the right to distress a lot of Nigerians. Consequently, Mr. Speaker, I would like to join my colleagues who have expressly stated that this is a no-no at this time because of a limited crowd. We should be looking at the larger advantage, the larger opportunity, the larger community, the larger Nigerian people. If we are the voice of Nigerians, if we as legislature are the voice of Nigerians, we should join hands together with all other states, come together for one common interest, which is the Nigerian survival. If we want to survive the Nigerian economy, I think that the best policies that should be initiated at a good time and not a wrong time. This is a bad time for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the prime mover of this motion. Mr. Speaker, what do we expect from a man who himself wanted to contest a primary with Asiwaju, but his motive was truncated? Definitely, it will get back to the people that really stopped him from going through the primary, and that is his intention. He wants to get back to the people. He wants to make sure that whatever they are doing does not work, and that's why he sent that or said that ideas to Mr. President. But that as it may, Section 17 and Section 18 of the CBN Act 2007 state give sole power of distribution of money, minting of money to the CBN. Maybe it's the right time for the National Assembly to start to tinker of how to reduce this kind of power so that there will be equity. Number two is Section 39 of the same Act that make the CBN to be the bankers of the state government. And before he took that decision, did he put the state government into the no? Because the state government has people and populists that they are going to they are governing upon. The answer is no. So the state government was not taken into consideration. He just took the advantage of the conference reading of Section 43 and Section 51 that gave them the power to establish financial services regulation and power to make regulations. If this power is doused and taken away from them by the National Assembly, I think it's high time the National Assembly has to do something about this. In all, if we want to go into cashless policy, there are processes to be followed, and it will take a lot of enlightenment of our people to key into it. It's not that it's bad, it's not a bad idea, but the timing, like my colleagues have said, is very, very bad. And the timing is intended to improve in the fundamental rights of some people. If my fundamental right is trampled upon, I will not hesitate to go to court and sue the CBN governor for it. Lastly, sir, when you want to encourage cashless environment, you have to have in place internet that works. In a situation where our internet, the Wi-Fi is not free, definitely it will not work. We have to, in this wise, I supported wholeheartedly Honorable Olowo's motion. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon, colleagues. Yeah, the motion as raised by Honorable Lu is very, very apt. In my own, I feel with the level of economic understanding in our polity, the CBN policy seems to be anachronic in nature, because without having defined Nigerian population, having it at hand that we are over 200 million, and by separating the population, we will know that Nigerian economic system is being driven by all these small SMEs. If you consider that, you will know that this policy is too anachronic, because it's supposed to be segmented. I think when this is done, I believe this pressure, these unwanted problems will be reduced. Because in the last few days, you will discover that people are becoming useless and jobless. And when there is joblessness, we know the effect of this. Because if by population, Nigerian population is over 200 million, and a policy is coming that will revive the economy within a period of 4 or 5 months, that is too short, damn too short. If we can, take our mind back to the time of communism, even as Russia, as we know that they are so much intertwined with their policy, communist policy, gradually they imbibe capitalist system. That is when Gorbachev came out with perestroika and glasnost. Perestroika is when you open it for them to come in to ease the tension in the economy. You now put glasnost to checkmate it. There's nothing bad. If Nigerian policy comes up with this kind of system, whereby you ease the tension, you can close it, you open it, gradually will become very balanced. An economy that is not balanced with the status of the people is will be very difficult to manage. So in this regard, I strongly support the position of Honorable Lu, and I say that the government should have brought what we call stick and carrot. By the time you give them carrot, give it to us, we chew it, things will be balanced. Having done that, then you can come with another thing. In other words, there's supposed to be enough time. With enough time, of course, everything will be rectified. And apart from that, CBN is lacking some powers, and it's not really using what it's supposed to do at some instances. For instance, you will go to bank, you'll be afraid of using your ATM to collect money. These are areas that you're supposed to look at, because you will discover that there are some boys around the bank. It happened to somebody 2 weeks ago at Victoria Island. The person ran back to me. I was like, what is the problem? He said, you just took me off my money. What is the problem? This person slotted ATM card. Those guys have been there. They have manipulated the machine, a particular bank machine. So by the time she started to put her pin, whatever, she couldn't get it right. Before you knew what was happening, the money has been removed. This person ran to the bank and complained they blocked it. But up to today, the bank has not done anything. And this is not the first time it will happen. These are areas that CBN is supposed to look into, so that these banks, they don't constitute what we can call a web of unnecessary problem in our economy. So in a nutshell, sir, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to start and say I am fully in support of the position of Honorable Olu. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to appreciate the Prime Mover, Honourable Olowo. This issue is a very vexatious one. It is a way, but what do we expect from a banker? When the CBN governor is a banker, it's not an economist. All over the world, CBN governors are economists that have to do with the macro economic policies. This man is a banker, so his aim is just to make money. He's not out to make the economy better for us, and that's why he's giving us this so much pain. And I'll give you a typical example, sir. In my constituency, by 1922, there's only two banks, and it's the rural area, very large area, from Morobo to Yafi. There's only two banks. Even the second, I will even say one, because the second bank is just close to the next constituency. And the rural area, there are no good roads. They don't have ATM. So they don't even have the kind of phone that we use to transfer fund. So this kind of thing is alien to us. Yes, we need it, but it has to be gradual. So I don't know, and they're just targeting politicians, just like my colleague, Honourable Petition said about that. Maybe they're targeting, of course, they're targeting a few people, but the bulk of our people, we have 200 million people in this country. The bulk of our people are suffering. They are suffering now. Go to any blank banks, even in Lagos here, you see hundreds of people struggling at the ATM. The money is not even available at the ATM. So what are you out to do? Are you out to punish the people? We cannot see what is going on. I cannot really understand the movement of this. So the man is myopic and wicked. So I want to appeal to the federal government, especially our president, to please, the president has been magnanimous enough to approve the extension. But that period of extension is too short. This thing must take time. Don't target politicians, don't target only few people. I don't know, the money is still outside. So I want to appeal to the president to please prevail on this man to change this wicked approach to regulations. That's
Honorable Sholaja.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon, my colleagues. Well, we are first of all going to appreciate Honorable Olowo for bringing this motion this afternoon. Mr. Speaker, financial policy is not something that you just wake up in a day and you want to implement it in totality. If you look at financial institutions that establish any banking sectors, it has rule and regulation. And the rule and regulation is that the House of Assembly or the Senate make law, like what the Honorable Akande have said. And I believe nobody is above the law. The management of CBN, the funding of the CBN is vested with the Senate and House of Representatives at the federal level. Mr. Speaker, replacing of the whole currency is not something that you can do overnight. And don't forget that the CBN caused this particular problem we are facing now. Almost 40 years ago that we replaced the old currency. And the general rule, the financial rule says that the maximum should be 5 years. Go to any advanced country, you see that the changing of the currency is minimum 5 years. And for somebody that have done a lot of effort to the country for over 40 years, or almost 40 years now, you want to change it overnight. Is it done in anywhere? Coupled with a lot of things that will affect. Therefore, yesterday, governors of Kano or Kaduna, if I don't make a mistake, said about 25 local governments did not have banking in or Kano. Yes, they didn't have bank in their respective local governments. How do they change this money? How do they exchange this money? And these are the kind of policy that we are just making to affect people. We thought we want to affect a particular person. No, it's a general problem. And coupled with it, ATM, there's a lot of video going viral now, where a lot of people bring themselves master slave at ATM, yet there's no fund there. So these are the things that we need to look into. And don't forget that the issue relating to fund is another video is going viral now, is that guy said, take new old naira, 1,000 naira into what they call it, arrow, that will just give you the new currency. Yes. When you die that money, put it in arrow, die it, immediately to give you the latest currency. So I think it's not the best. Let's do things gradually so that it won't affect the policy that they want to achieve. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to concur with Honorable Lowo and this central, with the Senate bank policy, the rule that they said they shifted it to do. I think I'm in totality with moving the deadline to June. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Said, lastly.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, sir. I think the timing of the redesign of the Naira is anti-masses, is unprogressive, and it's uncalled for. What is the statistics of money supply as at today by Central Bank? It is put at 50.8 trillion naira in supply. What is the statistics of money in banks' vaults in Nigeria? It is put at 2.8 trillion naira as today. What is the statistics of money in circulation? It is put at 3.7 trillion. And how can you just oppose this figure within a very short time period? And you now want all this money to come back to the bank and to even be in the hand of the people at the same time. I think the central bank governor and his policy has caused an altercation in the economic history of Nigeria, forgetting that Nigeria is the bane of economic of West Africa. This suicidal act is going to linger on in the face of Nigeria. And more so, we can take history from developed country of the world. America do change their currency on timely basis. The old American dollar is still a legal tender. You go to the UK, the old pounds is being phased out systematically, and it is even now they change a monarch, and it is the custom that the picture of the monarch will be on the currency. It is 2024 that the picture of the new monarch is going to appear, while the old pound sterling is still in circulation. We all travel to Saudi and Dubai. The old riyal is still in circulation. Why are we doing our own in haste in a cash-based economy, in an economy where inflation is very, very high? The central bank governor has defied all economic terms. And Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to turn, this thing is a big fraud in Nigeria. I will analyze it to you, sir.
No, a lot
of money.
No, analyze to make your point.
Okay, a lot of money that is supposed that are multilated are being recouped back to the bank. The DSS and the DSS should go back to some of these banks and check the quantum volume of money that people bring back to them as multilated, and these individuals that are beneficial from this thing want to take the new money. This thing is an artificial scarcity caused to obfuscate the economic of Nigeria. And the implication of this fund is that a lot of loan in Nigerian bank is going to go back, and when this loan goes back, businesses will close. When businesses close, unemployment will rise. When unemployment rise, there is hunger in the land. The central bank governor has done an inimical thing to Nigeria, and they should redress their action. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Well, let me say a big thank you to all of you and commend you for your contributions on this matter of currency swap, which has become a national one. I quite agree with points being made by each one of us that has spoken. Our concern largely has to do with the people, the pains, anger, and agitation which our people are going through. it's not limited to the masses alone, and some of us have also narrated their own experiences in getting something done where they need to make payments. And I think it has become an issue that affects everybody now. So it's not limited to a certain group of people. The intention, according to the central bank, that is to control inflation. The experts, I mean the economists, have said that most times you cannot use, currency to control inflation. When you change the currency of a nation to control inflation, that it has never done. It does not achieve the purpose most times. And as I said, looking at the percentage of what we have in circulation, the large chunk of the currency they are trying to change, according to the experts, are in the default of most of our banks. So we only have little percentage in circulation in the hands of the people. So definitely the intention has been defeated right from day one. But unfortunately, the people are now suffering because when you breach a system, this is what you get in return. I think before we embark on such policy, there's supposed to be engagement with the people. There's supposed to be kind of stakeholders meeting between central banks and the state government and other institutions and people generally. And also people are supposed to be informed adequately. But overnight, exercise of this nature does not achieve anything. It creates more pains. And when you consider those who are living in rural areas, how do you expect them to come out with the fund? There are some people that their daily engagement, daily activities is what sustains them. If they do not act in a day, it will be difficult for them to live the following day. So I think they should have put all these into consideration before going ahead. So it is obvious that the 10 days, additional 2 weeks or 10 days, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to serve the purpose. So we must commend the National Assembly, the Senate, and the House of Rep for their timely intervention and for showing good representation. We must commend them for taking that prompt action to intervene, which resulted in 2 weeks, additional 2 weeks, but it's not going to be enough. So we must join the National Assembly in adding our own voice. We must also support the position of the National Assembly that the CBN governor must honor the invitation extended by the National Assembly. There should be engagement, there should be explanation, and there should be defense. If you issue a policy, you must be able to defend it. And the only appropriate quarter that can be defended is the National Assembly, because they are the representative of Nigerians. So I think the CBN governor should go and explain this reason behind this. Like, as observed in so many countries, it's kind of, you absorb the old currency without allowing it to go out again. But we want to do this overnight. It is not possible. It's not going to work, and it's going to affect our people and our economy the more, because we are cash carry nation and we are used to it. And we have so many people in the rural areas, the herdsmen in the rural areas who said they are cattle and all this. We have the farmers, we have so many people, we have the transporters. So in a nutshell, for us to save time, I think this policy, it might be a good one, but the method, the implementation is a very wrong one, and the number of days being given to allow currency swap is not going to be enough, and it's creating headache and pains for our people, and it's not going to help the economy of the country. So, Honorable Lowe, in view of this, can you give us your position, you know,
thank you, Mr.
accommodating the views of our colleagues, and particularly the position of National Assembly on this matter?
I note that the new CBN cash policy is fraught with a lot of problems and inconveniences on the small to medium scale entrepreneurs who are the major employer of labor, as well as the masses who constitute the greater number of Nigerians. Further notes that the deadline, if not adjusted by 6 months, is capable of destroying the informal sector and Nigeria economy at large. It resolves in consonance with the directive of the Senate and the House of Representatives that the CBN should postpone the implementation of the policy to resolve all perceived threats with negative implementation, and for effective implementation and positive results till July 2023. I so move.
Well, your prayer is not clear to me. Maybe you should just highlight the main points from what you have read. You know,
yes, sir. In view of the negative implications on our people, such as the masses who live predominantly in the rural areas, then the employment of the youths who is going to be threatened by the eradication of POS, that this House, in agreement with the Senate and the House of Representatives, call on the Governor of CBN, Mr. Emefiole, to...
They have done that already. We commend the National Assembly, both the Senate and House of Reps, and we support their position. You know, the position they have taken so far, that we also adopt their position, we support their position, and also that the CBN governor should honor the invitation of the National Assembly to appear to defend their policy. Then you cannot come back to whatever that is left out by our colleagues, or in our own way also to clamor for extension of dates, you know, for the currency swapping.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As moderated and corrected and amended by our able, right honorable Speaker. Thank you, sir.
Okay, well, I've just been informed that he has appeared before the National Assembly Committee. Just appeared, so that is a good one. So they'll be able to resolve. But so in our additional amendment to it, we can draw his appearance before the National Assembly. But we are in support of the position of National Assembly, and we also clamor for extension of months, not days, of months, to allow the currency swapping to take place in the interest of our people, and particularly those in rural areas and operator of POS. So thank you. Who is seconded? Honorable Kasumu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I raise the second motion as well.
All in favor say aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Personal explanation, none. Reports, none. Let me recognize the presence of 35 students from Book Workshop College, Ikorodu, Lagos, at the gallery to observe that day sitting, led by Mr. Adenrele, the principal, Mr. Sadiq S.O. and Mr. Osaswa K. You are most welcome. We thank you for coming. How are you, children? How are you, children? You are most welcome. Thank you for coming. Your business of the day, laying of reports, Honorable S.O.B. Agumbiade. To follow in suit, Honorable Victor Akande.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues. On behalf of the other members of this 11-man ad hoc committee, I hereby lay the report of the Committee on the Conduct of Gateway Zone CDA Magodo G.R.A. Phase 1 Executive in relation to House resolution on the petition against public incitement, unlawful collusion with NTDA officials, unlawful obstruction, injurious falsehood, public disturbance, and conduct likely to cause breach of peace perpetrated by Oyebode Ojomu, purportedly acting for Gateway Zone Community Development, Alson CDA Magodo G.R.A. General Manager, New Town Development Authority, NTDA, Mr. Adenrele, Oni, and others. I so lay.
Majority Leader, please approach.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. Report of the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights, Public Petition and LSHA on a petition titled Trespass, Continuous Illegal Occupation and Alienation of Alayande Family Land located at Lekki-Epe Express Road opposite Idiagbon Town, Eti-Osa local government area, Lagos State, particularly delineated in survey plan number CSR/LA78/71, otherwise called Majek Farm by MP Lega. I so late.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I pray for indulgence to reorder the business of the day with a view to bringing item number B2 to become B1 and B1 to be stepped down till another day. As we move.
Honorable Tijani. Just go ahead. All in favor, say aye.
Mr. Speaker, to take the presentation of the report of the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights, Public Petition and LSHA to be presented by Honorable Akande, I move that the House dissolve to Committee of the Whole. I so move.
Honorable Afini.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye. Those against, no. The ayes have it. Honorable Akande.
Mr. Speaker. Report of the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights, Public Petition and LSHA on a petition titled Trespass, Continuous Illegal Occupation and Alienation of Alayande Family Land located at Lekki-Epe Express Road opposite Idiagbon Town, Eti-Osa Local Government Area, Lagos State. 1.0 Introduction. The above petition was committed to the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Public Petition and LSHA by the Right Honorable Speaker to look into the veracity of the allegation raised. 2.1. Thank you, sir. 2.1. Cross of the matter. The petition under reference dated 15 January 2021 alleged that the Lagos State government acquired a large expanse of land belonging to Alayande family for agricultural purposes, and that in August 1985, 50 hectares of land was allocated to Mr. Majek Agri projects on lease for a period of 25 years for agricultural purposes, out of which 34.5 hectares belong to the Alayande family. The petition further alleged that upon expiration of the said lease in year 2000, the state government granted another 10 years lease to the same Majek Agri project in 2009, which expired in 2019. The petition also alleged that despite the expiration of the 10 years lease, Majek still retained the 34.5 hectares of Alayande family land and had started selling same to third parties without the consent of the family. The petition further alleged that different constructions are ongoing on the land, which is contrary to the Land Use Act of 1978. The family therefore sought the intervention of the House to prevail on the executive arms for the release of 15 hectares out of the 34.5 hectares in question for the use of the family. 3.0 Submission. Barrister Muhyiddin Tejumade, counsel to the family, posted that Alayande family owns a large expanse of land with survey plan number CSR/LA78/71 dated 19th February 1978, part of which was acquired by the Lagos State government for agricultural purposes. See a copy of the survey plan as Annexure 1. Barrister Tejumade further posted that on 19 August 1985, the state government allocated 50 hectares of the said land to Mr. Majek Agri project on a 25 years lease holds for agricultural purposes. See a copy of allocation letter as Annexure 2. He added that out of the 50 hectares allocated to Majek on lease, 34.5 hectares belong to the Alayande family, and that upon the expiration of the 25 years lease holds in year 2000, the Lagos State government granted another 10 years lease to Majek Agri project on 30th May 2009 via a certificate of occupancy number 54/54/2009K. See copy of CFO as Annexure 3. Barrister Tejumade lamented that upon the expiration of the additional 10 years lease in May 2019, Majek Agri project still held on to the 34.5 hectares of land belonging to Alayande family without their consent. He further alleged that Majek has since started sales of the said land to third parties for non-agricultural purposes and constructions, which are sharp contraventions of Land Use Act of 1978. See the pictorial evidence of construction on the land as Annexure 4A and B. He further informed that Alayande family viewed the continuous stay and indiscriminate sales of their land by Majek Agri project with the use of Land Use Act as means of perpetrating fraud, which is unlawful and provocative. Alhaja Kudirat Shonibare Alayande, the head of the family, passionately appealed for the intervention of the House to prevail on the state government to release 15 hectares out of the 34.5 hectares within the Magodo agri farms for the family use. Mr. Obiri, the former general manager of the Agricultural Lands Holdings Authority, ALA, reported that the entire corridor, including the land in question, form part of the Lekki Global Acquisition and not for agricultural purposes alone. He mentioned that 19.7 hectares of the entire land had been granted to Alayande family in the past. On directives of the governor, he added that he acceded to the family request for further accession, but noted that the family is here to do a provisional survey of the exact portion they want to be exercised to them as a precondition for accession. Mr. Hafiz Adeleke Alayande, the secretary to the family, confirmed that 19.7 hectares was granted to the family several years back with the consent of the governor, but that only 14 hectares was released to the family with the outstanding 5.7 hectares yet to be resolved to date. He expressed dissatisfaction with the manner the Ministry of Agriculture is treating the family on the issue. In response, Mr. Omiri corroborated the position of Mr. Alayande to the effect that the family still has an outstanding 5.7 hectares yet to be released out of the 19.7 hectares approved by the governor earlier, which he attributed to some technical issues. He, however, hinted that there is still a vacant portion within the contentious area that can accommodate the 15 hectares accession requested by the family. Ms. Abisola Olusoya, the Commissioner for Agriculture, submitted that she is not averse to granting an accession to the family, especially with the situation on ground, but that it is subject to governor's approval. She informed that the ministry will seek the approval of the governor before accession can be granted, while agreeing with the 15 hectares further accession demanded by the family in addition to the outstanding 5.7 hectares totaling 20.7 hectares. She advised the family to write Mr. Governor through the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that due diligence is followed for the realization of their request. The committee thereafter advised the family to forward their request to Mr. Governor through the Ministry of Agriculture for express approval of the land accession request. 4.0 Visitation to Locus Inco. On Friday, 23rd September 2022, the committee, in conjunction with the representative of Surveyor General's Office, Land Bureau, Office of the Special Task Force of Land Grabbers, Ministry of Agriculture and Agricultural Land Holdings Authority, ALA, pay a walking visit to the contentious land. The representative of Alayande family were also in attendance. The following are the highlights of the visit. 1. The representative of the Office of the Surveyor General paid the coordinates of the Alayande family land from the beginning to the end for confirmation of the total parcel and status of the land. 2. It was evident that there are encumbrances on some portions of the land within the Magodo agricultural project, as evident in the perimeter fences that are visible on the land. 3. It is also obvious that some hectares of land on the contentious area are still vacant and can accommodate the accession requested of the family as earlier agreed by the Ministry of Agriculture. 4. Commercial activities such as wedding, block making, and trading activities were ongoing in front of large expanse of Majek farms without authorization, which could have been harnessed as internally generated revenue for the state. 5. Findings. In the course of the exercise, the committee observed the following. 1. that the Lagos State government acquired some hectares of land from Alayande family, Abijo, for agricultural purposes. 2. Alayande family land forms part of the portion leased to Majek agri projects. 3. Lagos State government leased 50 hectares of land to Majek agri project in 1985 for 25 years and renewed same in 2009 for another 10 years, which lapsed in 2019. 4. There is still an outstanding 5.7 hectares of land that is yet to balance the excision of 19.7 hectares earlier granted to Alayande family in the past as approved by the governor. 5. That there is still a vacant portion of land lying fallow which can accommodate the family excision request of 15 hectares. 6. There is no evidence of any agricultural activities being carried out by Majek agri project on the land anymore. 7. There is no effective monitoring and supervision of the land by Agric Land Holdings Authority (ALA), which is this seeming reason for illegal erection of structures on some portions of the land. And 8. There are noticeable unauthorized commercial activities going on in front of the entire land that can boost the state IGR generation. 6.0 recommendation. Based on oral and written submissions available before it, the committee recommends as follows. 1. Call on the governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, to approve 15 hectares further excision and the outstanding 5.7 hectares, totally 20.7 hectares, be granted to Alayande family within the Majek agri project as final compensation and settlement for the acquisition of their land. 2. The Agricultural Land Holdings Authority should be alive to its responsibilities at ensuring effective monitoring of allocation and lease agreement on agricultural lands in their custody with strict compliance with 1978 Land Use Act to avoid encroachment and misuse for non-agricultural purposes. And 3. That the Surveyor General, Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, Lands Bureau and other concerned agencies should issue necessary official documents to the Alayande family in respect of the 15 hectares and the outstanding 5.7 hectares. Appreciation. On behalf of members of the committee, I wish to express our profound gratitude to Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable Mudashiru Ajayobasa, and my distinguished colleagues for the opportunity given to us to carry out this assignment. My sincere appreciation also goes to the clerk of the House and the secretariat team for successful completion of this assignment. Thank you, Honorable Victor Akande, Chairman, Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Public Petition.
Who is adopted?
The report should be.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, the ayes have it. Now we go to Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the committee, I will say thank you for a very good report. The report captured a lot of things, but I'm still confused. Because, Mr. Speaker, my colleague, you will appreciate the fact that over time we've been talking about Agumbiade and issues of others on land, and this is one of them. So my questions are: Majek agri project was said to have leased the land till when it expired in 2019. What is the status now? You said at a point that no evidence of agricultural activities going on there. Then, to what extent as the man encroached on the land by selling it to a third party, because I have not seen that in your recommendation and your findings, that having certified that some portion of the land had been sold out, it was leased to him for agricultural purposes, but now he's selling it out. To what extent has he encroached? Then what is your recommendation to avert reoccurrence? Because we know we have a lot of people that lease government land for agricultural purposes, but at the end of the day, then they will be contending with the real owner of the land. And if you don't have recommendation that we avert reoccurrence, as you are stopping somewhere, it will resonate in other areas. So I'm looking for that. Then, have you gone further, the committee, to check the land database in Lagos State through the land registry and Office of Survey General, as at ensuring that what they have in their database is in consonance with the reality, or they will be moving from one place to another without really having the real thing on there. So what is the state of our land database? Is it in congruence with the reality of the moment? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Well, I want to also appreciate the committee for a very good job.
Please go straight to your...
Thank you very much, sir. Well, my question, particularly on your recommendation, what are the punitive measures for agencies that refuse to take their responsibilities seriously in the state, especially the Agricultural Land Holding Authority? It is not for the committee to discover that no agricultural activities is going on the land. I believe that the committee should have recommendation for punitive measures. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Eshino.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just think that the recommendation, the finding is as clear as anything. The recommendation, and even the Honorable Commissioner had said that they are not averse to returning this land to these people, but that they just must do what is appropriate, applied through the Ministry of Agriculture. Whatever is in the database of land registry is irrelevant in this case. It is for the family to write for that now 25.7 plus 15, 20.7 hectares. It is not the responsibility of the lands department to find the land of that size and give it to the appropriate person. Agricultural activity may not be going on there because as of 2019 the lease had ended, so there is no point if they are either doing agricultural activities or not. Is irrelevant. What is relevant now is that the thing ought to have reverted back to the Ministry of Agriculture, and then the Ministry of Agriculture and the lands department should now do as appropriate, return 20.7 hectares to this family, pure and simple. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, also in support of the position of the committee, but we just have expected the committee to have also called that farm also in their hearing to just affirm the certificate of occupancy they talk about. In all this report, I did not see any point where the farm in question were really brought into all their committee activities to really affirm their own position too, which will really help to collaborate this report they have given. Thank you.
Well, I think we'll allow the chairman to further give clarification on most of the points raised, but it has been established that truly it was leased to the farm, what is it called? Majek. So there's no doubts about that, and the CFO also indicated same. So I think there's no, but the question that I think is necessary, which the deputy is against, is about there should be kind of compensation, because when you are given land on the basis of farming and thereafter portion of the land was being sold to the third party. I think such persons should not be allowed to go scot-free. There should be compensation back to the state or to the original owner of the land. So that is being left out because Majek was taking advantage of the agreement between the company and the states. So the land was granted as a lease for farming. And I think he has no right, if he is even going to sell part of the portion of the land, it has to be limited to the period in which he has a title upon. But when the title has expired, and yet people that bought the land are still on the land, operating whatever they are doing. So on what ground? What is the title? So I think you left that area out, so you can further explain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the issue of selling of that land, when the CFO expires, that is the 10 years, the extra 10 years, I think what happened is that Allah gave them some part of the land as settlement. That is that portion that they are.
Gave who?
Gave Majek.
Gave them the land.
Gave part of it to them, and that is the one they were selling. On what ground? I think they wrote to Allah, and Allah excised that for them. It on that basis that the Majek.
No, okay, on that basis.
Yes.
But the portion of land taken away from the Alayande's family is not what they are returning to them. They are only being granted a portion of what was taken away from them. Now you are now saying Greek Land Authority has ceded part of the land.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. On what ground? Did you verify that aspect? So if you do, there's nothing indicating such position in the report. So it can't just be granted by words of mouth.
Is it on? Okay. Yes, sir. I think after the expiration, the land in question maybe went back to them. But what the commissioner made us to understand is that the land is back to them and they are capable of releasing 15 hectares to the family. And once they said they are ready, and as I'm speaking now, they've written letter, it has gone far. They've written the letter, it has gone far.
I'm not talking about
Majek family.
Family. Okay, sir.
About Majek now.
He just said that portion of it has been granted to Majek by a Greek Allah. Now you are now saying
I've just been corrected by my secretary that it was released to the Allah back, and that is on the basis where they now told us
so
that
the portion
yes has been reverted.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Honorable Alayande.
Just go ahead. Yes, that is clear.
Then two, on the issue of the agricultural land, when Majek agreed the agri-farm in 1978, then gradually years are coming. If you go to that place now, it's not suitable for agricultural purposes anymore. So that is why Majek still on that land The Majek now come back to the Lagos State government asking for regularization, which Lagos State government give it to Majek, right? They give him the regularization on, okay, I'm not doing agriculture on this place, so because housing something has been coming to that area, so they did regularization for him. Now what is contending now, the family are now asking for more extension. So far we are not doing agric anymore in that place, and we will be looking you, and that is what the commissioner said. They also can apply and get their land which have been given to them.
No, they have right to ask for more.
They ask to have more.
The question now, you are bringing in another dimension which is not reflected in this report. If Majek agric project has applied for regularization, has it been approved is the question.
Yes.
How do you know?
They have been there. When I was chairman there, they have
we don't have it here. We do not have it here.
Maybe so, they didn't go further on it. They have it.
Observation, sir.
Yeah,
Mr. Speaker, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am confused. For you to ask for regularization, it means that that land has what we call acquisition. It is acquisition when you request for regularization that we now talk about acquisition. Mr. Majek, Adenrele Limited, was only a lessee, was not the owner, has never acquired that land. So when you are now talking about regularization, there are two different things. If you approach the state,
it doesn't matter your status, you can apply to government to
but they pay money, sir.
Is that what?
You pay money. And we are not talking about Ojomu, he has paid that money. That what we call economic loss of the state. Where is the money? Where is the records?
No,
those are the things.
That is what we are, the findings now. That is why we are asking questions. So if let's say you have rights to seek for change of status from the government, if it is granted, fine. If otherwise, so that is why we are asking the chairman of the committee, now to further explain, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, sir, from Badagry to Epe now to Lekki, this agric land holding authority is becoming too problematic and serving as aid to people converting government purpose for acquiring land into personal use. I think we should look more into the activities of this LSHA. This Mr. Omiri is becoming a regular lexicon in the petitions to the House of Assembly. I think we need to look at it.
The chairman agreed is not around today, so when he's around, we'll go further. Honorable Victor Akande, please explain the dual dimension.
What we were told by the commissioner is that the land has reverted back to them.
Has not what?
Has reverted back to the agric landholders.
Back to the
ministry.
Allah.
We were not told whether they've seeded it out or not.
I think at this point, in order to save time, probably we have to step down these reports. So you have to invite Allah and the ministry. Well, Majek, if it is necessary, but I think the business here has to do with Allah to further produce document in support of his status on the land as it is today. So if otherwise, then for the family, I think they have rights, to solicit for more. So it belongs to them, and nothing has been done since the land was taken away from them. So I think we step down the reports. The committee has finished with the detailed information and come back with its reports. Now, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House reverts back to plenary.
Who has slides? Honorable Tijani. Thank you, Majority Leader. All in favor? All in favor say aye. Those against the ayes have it. Sorry. Yeah, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, at the committee of the whole, the House took the presentation of the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Public Petition in respect of a petition titled Trespass, Contentious Illegal Occupation and Alienation of Alayande Family Land located at Lekki-Epe Express Road opposite Idiagbon. The report was presented, the report was discussed by members, and an issue that is contentious and unresolved by report caused the report to be stood down for another day to resolve the gray area in the report. Mr. Speaker, I wish to say that is what transpired at the Committee of the Whole. Thank you.
Honorable, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to affirm that the recap is a true reflection of what transpired at the Committee of the Whole.
Who has lines? Honorable Setanji.
To support the affirmation.
What did he say?
I said I rise to support the affirmation. Thank you, sir.
All in favor say aye. Those against me, the ayes have it. The majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, with the approval of the Right Honourable Speaker, I move that the House adjourns to Thursday, the 2nd day of February at 10 a.m. I so move.
Yeah, Honorable Tijani.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion as moved.
And there will be a short meeting immediately after plenary. All in favor say aye. Those against me, the ayes have it. This House stands adjourned to Thursday, 2nd February 2023 at 10 a.m. prompt. I rise.